Have you ever felt a silence so heavy it could crush you? That's the silence that fell over the world after Heracles, the strongest man alive, succumbed to a divine madness. When he awoke, his hands were stained with a guilt heavier than any weight he had ever lifted. To find peace, to find redemption, he walked barefoot, not as a hero, but as a broken man, to the sacred oracle of Delphi. The air inside the temple was cold, ancient. The oracle's voice echoed from the shadows, not with pity, but with a chilling decree. Go to Tyrannus, serve your cousin, King Eurystheus. He will command you to perform 12 labors, tasks so impossible that no mortal could survive them. Only by completing them will your soul find its cleansing. Heracles didn't argue. He didn't roar in defiance. He simply bowed his head. At that moment, he wasn't the celebrated son of Zeus. He was a man begging the gods for a chance to heal his shattered soul. And so, his journey began. His first destination was Nemea, a land paralyzed by fear. A monstrous lion, a beast born of myth and shadow, terrorized the countryside. Its hide was said to be impenetrable, a living armor that deflected every spear and sword. The villagers spoke of it in hushed, trembling whispers. Fields were barren, doors were bolted shut long before sunset, and the bravest hunters had either fled or vanished. But Heracles walked on. He carried no sword, no shield, just a heavy club hewn from olive wood and a bow he had carved himself. He was marching toward a monster that legends claimed could not be killed. As twilight painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, the very air grew still, charged with a primal energy. And then, from the deepening shadows, it emerged, the Nemean Lion. It was larger than any bull, its mane a shimmering cascade of molten bronze. Its eyes weren't just the eyes of an animal. They glowed with an ancient, intelligent fury. The beast was a force of nature, a walking embodiment of destruction. Heracles, ever the warrior, raised his bow. He drew the string back, his muscles coiling like serpents. The first arrow flew, a perfect shot aimed for the heart. It struck the lion's hide and shattered into splinters, as if hitting solid rock. He fired a second, then a third. Each one met the same fate, bouncing off the creature's impenetrable skin like a child's toy. The lion let out a roar, a sound so powerful it seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. In that moment, Heracles understood. This wasn't a battle of weapons. He slowly lowered his bow, a calm resolve settling over him. This was a battle of will, of raw strength against raw power. The lion, perhaps sensing the shift in its opponent, turned and retreated into the darkness of its lair, a sprawling cave set into the hillside. Heracles followed, and he noticed something strange. The cave had two entrances, a classic riddle from the gods. One path leading to life, the other to death. A small, knowing smile touched Heracles' lips. He wasn't just a brute, he was clever. He found a massive boulder, and with a grunt of effort, rolled it into place, sealing one of the mouths of the cave. There would be no escape, not for the lion, and not for him. He then stepped into the blackness of the remaining entrance. The air was cold and damp, smelling of earth and predator. The world outside faded away. Inside, there were only two sounds, the steady, rhythmic beat of his own heart, and the low, guttural breathing of a monster lurking in the dark. Suddenly, a blur of motion. The lion lunged, a whirlwind of claws and teeth. Heracles didn't dodge. He met its charge head-on. Man and beast collided with the force of a thunderclap. The lion's claws, sharper than any blade, tore through the skin of his arm, but Heracles barely flinched. His own powerful hands found their mark, closing around the lion's thick, muscular neck. The cave itself seemed to tremble as they wrestled. It was a primal dance of death, two forces of nature locked in a struggle for dominance. The lion thrashed, its immense power trying to break free, but Heracles' grip was like iron. He squeezed, channeling all his grief, all his guilt, all his desperate hope for redemption into that single act. Finally, with a choked roar that seemed to split the very air, the great beast went still. Silence descended once more, broken only by Heracles' ragged breaths and the sound of the wind whistling through the unblocked entrance. He had won, but the labor was not yet complete. He needed proof. He tried to skin the lion, to take its legendary hide, but true to the stories, his own knife couldn't even scratch the surface. It was utterly invincible. As he stood there, wondering what to do, a soft light filled the cave. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, appeared before him, her form veiled in moonlight. Her voice was a whisper on the wind. Use its own claws, son of Zeus. Only the beast can undo itself. Heracles understood. He took one of the lion's formidable claws and with it, carefully cut through the impenetrable hide. It sliced through the skin as if it were simple cloth. He worked through the night, and by dawn, he had fashioned the hide into a cloak and a helmet, the greatest armor the world had ever known. When he returned to Tiryns and presented himself to King Eurystheus, the king didn't cheer. He trembled. Seeing Heracles, not dead, but stronger, draped in the skin of the unkillable beast, Eurystheus was overcome with terror. He scrambled to hide inside a large bronze storage jar, cowering from the very hero he had sent to die. That night, alone under a canopy of stars, Heracles sat by a fire. He ran his hand over the lion's fur. It was still warm, as if it held the last embers of the creature's life. And in that quiet moment, he had a profound realization. Redemption wasn't about winning a fight or pleasing a king. It was about facing the darkness that others fled from. It was about confronting the monsters, both outside and within. This was not just the first of 12 punishments. This was the first step in a long, arduous journey of transformation. The Nemean Lion was slain, but high on Mount Olympus, the gods were already planning his next trial. 11 labors still awaited the son of Zeus, each one designed to test his limits, to break his spirit, and ultimately, to forge him into the true hero he was always meant to be. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into mythology, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in Heracles' epic saga. See you next time. Nebula Notes.